Good evening to everybody. God bless everybody that is watching. I will wait for some people to jump in here so we can start. This is an incredible live feed, so I will wait for some people to join in so I can start the show. First of all, I would like to say God bless everybody that is watching. God bless my country of Mexico, my city of Tijuana, and God bless the United States of America. Let's thank God for giving us 2 legs and 2 arms, a mind that we can think, a heart that we can feel, and eyes that we can see. God bless every single one of you. Thank you so much. Share this video, please. Share so we can get much audience. I was trying to do it at Facebook, but Facebook did not let me go live through the application as StreamYard as censorship. You guys know what is happening and what is going on. So please, if you can, guys, share this video. Now, I want to talk to you guys for a little bit before I go live. And it is pretty important that we talk about the enormous problem that is happening, and it's been happening for quite some time. A lot of people don't understand the problems that it is occurring with child trafficking, the problems that is occurring with sex trafficking, the problems that are occurring with sex abuse, with also human smuggling and child smuggling into our borders. Not only in the borders, but what is happening in the United States of America that a lot of people are not aware. When you're talking about child trafficking, a lot of United States citizens only think that this problem exists in the borders. It does not exist inside of the United States of America. These kind of individuals that I'm about to present, this kind of man, is one individual that has been working strongly to fight against all these corrupt situations, to fight against all this corrupt and all this open border mafia that is occurring right now in our borders and in our countries, and ultimately to defeat all of these people. It is not easy to do that. It is a mafia. It is a big-time mafia. It is a lucrative business. It is one of the most lucrative business that exists in the world. It is a multi-billion lucrative business. So it's not easy to do that. And we have individuals like Graig Sawyer that I'm about to present to you guys and put on the screen. He's a Marine, an ex-Marine, Navy SEAL, federal agent, high-threat mobile security contractor, and founder of Veterans for Child Rescue, and also the producer of Contraland. It is amazing to have, these kind of patriots and to talk to them and to ultimately, know what is their purpose and what is their ultimate goal right now with this enormous problem that is occurring in our borders. And not only in our borders, it is occurring around the world. It is humongous. We have to understand that this problem, it is not just a normal situation. It is a situation that's happening. So let me put Graig on the live screen, and hopefully you guys can share this video. As you know, it is difficult to get censorship. My God, man, I'm really this really sucks. I'm getting censored really bad, but we will try to do the best that we can. So God bless you all. Here's Graig on the screen. Thank you so much. Right here. Thank you so much, Graig, for being with me.
Hey, it's a pleasure, Oscar. Hey, what's life without a little challenge, right? I mean, people the people that are in power, that are abusing that power, do not want people like you speaking the truth. So you're going to run into constant hassles like that. But bless you for pushing through. Anyway, that's what we have to do.
Well, thanks so much for being on the live here with me, man. Thank you for giving me the time. And we have connected for a little while. We lost connection right there for little situations, but let's get right into the the topic that is quite important for us to understand what is happening in the United States of America and what is happening in our borders. Caravan trafficking and the sex trade of children and the trafficking of drugs in these caravans has been enormous. You're the typical guy that is exactly like me. We are for legal migration. We are for legal people coming in over here and getting a better opportunity in life. Nobody's against that. doing things legally, the process legally. But in these caravans, there's a lot of child trafficking. More than 34,000 child kids have been trafficked since 2018 till now. It is a humongous number. And you have seen it in Arizona. And you have seen how these caravans bring a lot of drug trafficking, a lot of sex trafficking, a lot of sex trade. And it is amazing that nobody in the borders is doing anything governmental wise. What is your take on that?
Well, we saw President Trump doing something about it, and my friends that are working in law enforcement on the border said that there was a great improvement in what was going on. But now we have, whenever you have somebody that subscribes to a globalist political agenda and objective, they want no borders, and they want to blur the lines and smear the lines, and they want to turn everybody against each other. It's a divide and conquer strategy. It's hostile, and it's a well-known strategy, divide and conquer, and it's an old one, and it's well known for a reason. It works. So that if they could cause you to think that you hate me and cause me to think that I hate you because we're not exactly alike, it empowers them, not us. And so they divide the populace by every single way that they can think of. And it's destructive. And so I don't like what's happening. My friends in law enforcement are telling me now that they're being overrun, and it's already bad. And I asked them, I said, what do you attribute it to? And they said, quite honestly, it's Biden. As soon as he got in and basically sent the international message of, hey, go ahead and overrun the United States. Well, we won't stop you. We welcome that because we want basically a communist, globalist state. We want people who will vote for free stuff, vote for that socialist handout. And then that way the United States can fall, and China is, anybody that's paying attention to the Biden administration knows about the multi-billion-dollar commercial construction contracts given to the Biden family by the Chinese Communist Party. And so it's no surprise to know that the Biden family's acting more on the benefit of China than they are the American people. And so we don't expect anything good. And so now that we're left to deal with it as citizens on both sides of the border, what do? And you pointed out that so many people that are being trafficked, that are being brought into the United States, they have to pay coyotes, they have to pay the cartel taxes and fees, and their daughters and their wives get raped, they get separated, they get abused and used to traffic children that are not theirs across the border in fake families that the Border Patrol has to try to figure out and separate these children from the people that are not their real mothers and fathers. And then, of course, you've got the news media playing it up, saying, oh, look, they're ripping children away from their families and putting them in cages, where in factual reality, as well as I do, Oscar, the real children in cages are done through the child traffickers and the abuse there, not their own families and not our law enforcement who are trying to fix the problem. So it's a mess, man, but you've got real people in harm's way, and with the drugs involved, and there's a lot of money. It's a problem that affects us all negatively on both sides. And I think the sooner we start working together without the government necessarily calling the shots, the sooner we can prevent a lot of innocent people from being abused and harmed through this, because it's only going to get worse.
Now,
find real solutions on the ground level.
Yeah. Now, I want to jump in there. 125,000 people, Joe Biden has said that he's going to admit immediately that they have a court date in the United States for asylum and refugee case. Catch and release is going to be implemented. You already know that. Hotel rooms are going to be plastered all over the borders, as they are going to be hosting all of this. Arizona has been one of the places that it has been awfully overwhelmed with fake families and fake matrimonies. 4,800 fake families in the year of 2018, 5,800 fake families on the year of 2019 registered. And Arizona is the highest state that pays more for undocumented individuals per capita in the whole country. Now, You have a lot of problems with sex abuse and the situation with sex traffickers in the United States. Your take on that? That a lot of people are not educated on what is coming to the country and ultimately what it is already in the country.
Well, not only the people not educated, Oscar, law enforcement are not educated on it. And I'm not saying that to be critical of my law enforcement brothers. I spent 5 years as a federal agent myself. I'm saying that because that's what they're telling me. We're having liaison meetings with law enforcement, letting them know what we can do as a nonprofit organ and the horsepower that we have, the investigative capability, and the new technology that we have access to that we can bring to law enforcement, help them with. And they're saying, hey, it's great, Craig. We're trained on weapons, dope. We know what to do when we do these typical stops and raids and interdictions, and we understand the old game and we understand how to process that, but we don't always understand how to deal with the children being trafficked. And we deserve to know. And they're right. They deserve the training and the education to prepare them to set them up for success on this and to safeguard the children who are being trafficked. If law enforcement make a stop and they don't know to separate the children from the adults, to find out if that's their real biological parents and if the children even belong with them, how are they going to help the children? And if they don't know how to do that and some of the things that are involved, and there's special care that's appropriate when dealing with children. Not only language barriers and all that kind of thing, but most of our law enforcement that work on the border, of course, bilingual out of practical necessity, but not all our law enforcement are. And people that are dealing with children, man, they need to understand the procedures, protocols to safeguard those children, to learn as much as they can from why the child is in that situation, and help find the child's rightful parents, or bring them to some sort of safety and healing and get them back into the best life that we can, if their parents are dead or what have you. So law enforcement are not generally trained on it, and we need to remedy that. We need to set them up again for success so that they're armed and empowered with that knowledge on how to process child sex crimes in conjunction with illegal immigration.
Now, jumping on that, the process on the administration of Obama to deport, that is the administration that deported more Mexicans in history of the United States of America. The process for deportation at that particular time in 2015, that more than 90,000 children were apprehended and they were just released again to population, into coyotes and into traffickers. And in indifference with what Donald Trump was doing, that is was studying basically where they were being returned back home. A lot of people now, they are worried because this is a Biden. With Biden, it's just Obama 3.0. It is just going to be exactly or worse. Children are going to be returned to coyotes. It is just a recycling business. You have seen it, how these kids come in with a fake family, they go back and then they use, because these teenagers from South America, Craig, they think like a 20-year-old, a 12-year-old already knows that he can be, he can use his age for profit or for money. What can we do to just, to tell the people the enormous problem, and ultimately, for the Biden administration, that I don't know what the hell they're going to do with this, because they're not prepared for this. This is a big problem, and it is going to hit them in the face.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit cynical because I've worked in the intelligence community, I've worked in federal law enforcement community, I've worked in the diplomatic community and in the counterterrorist community, as well as film and television. So by wearing those different hats, I've met a lot of people and I've seen behind the scenes a lot of what's going on, and I just know too much about the Biden family and the political agenda that those and like them are on. And I'm sorry, Oscar, and you may feel the same way. I don't have any trust in them to act in good faith, to even try to do what's right. They're in it for power and money, and they don't give a dang about the children or the families that are being abused in this illegal immigration process, on the rape trees and murdered and abused along the way, and all of the bodies that my friends find on their ranches just bodies who are, their coyotes shot them in the back of the head and taken the dope or whatever they had done. And what do we need to do? I think we need to, on this side of the border, we need to get very assertive. I'm not talking about burning cities and being a total reprobate terrorist douchebag like the other side's done. I mean, a righteous, getting loud, getting assertive, but do it in a righteous, respectable way and demand that our elected officials carry out our will. And our will would simply be that there is control of our border, honest, good faith control, and a legal, common sense immigration process is upheld like it is anywhere else in the world. That there should be a logical and reasonable way to apply for citizenship, to come into the United States and do it and have the proper checks and come in an honorable way, like so many have. But the climbing the fence and coming through tunnels and crossing rivers and invading illegally is a problem for everybody. It's a problem for the people coming here. It's a problem for the people that are applying for citizenship legally and waiting. And it's a problem for those that have come here already legally and are applying for different processes and jobs. And it's a problem for the American taxpayers. It's not good for anybody allowing illegal, invasion of any country. So it's disingenuous whenever you see a political party and their lapdog media saying things that try to conflate and confuse and muddy the waters between legal and illegal.
Yeah.
Migrating legally is honorable and respectable and welcome. Doing it illegal makes you a criminal. And there's a lot of problem with that. And so the job of the communists and those that want to deceive the American people and the Mexican people and the South American people who are having to come up through Mexico and quite frankly, anybody else that comes across our border illegally, their job as they see it is to deceive everyone and muddy the water and try to make it sound like somehow people that want a legal, healthy, safe process for migration are somehow anti-migration. Mm-hmm. And, of course, white supremacists and whatever else they can paint the American citizens under to try to confuse the issue and, again, cause that division so that all of us are squabbling with each other. Meanwhile, the overlords at the top, the real abusers, get their way. They get power and control, and you and I get sold down the river, Oscar.
Now, one of the things that
same thing.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that you were talking to me right now, it is that we need to do something about this. Like we need to prosecute these people, to do something about it. And I saw a couple of screenshots on your page, and I want your take on these screenshots. It says child rape, trafficking is a bipartisan issue. It is a human rights issue. It is a crisis. Your take on this one?
Yeah, a child doesn't understand politics, and I don't care what your political affiliation is, or what country you're from. Children are our offspring. So, Oscar, if you try to reach in the den of any wild animal, and you try to get their cubs and harm their little cubs, you're going to draw back a nub, brother. You're going to get nothing but teeth, horns, and claws from that mama, or whatever that animal species is. Mm-hmm. Why should we as human beings be any less defensive of our precious and innocent children who cannot help themselves? They cannot advocate for themselves against a full-grown predatory adult who's lustful and perverted and wants to rape a child. He's going to figure out a way to scare the child and threaten the child to get what he wants. And the children deserve defending. And that's not about politics. There should be no politics in it. And that's why we say it is a bipartisan issue. There can be no politics injected into raping a child. It is wrong. It's evil. It's destructive. and we must all agree that that is not okay. Anybody that disagrees with that, I would challenge them to imagine themselves being a small child and whether or not they would want for a full-grown predatory male to be raping them. And I'm sorry, Oscar, if you have to take the diaper off of an infant to rape it, something is severely wrong. And you cannot paint that with any sort of politics and say that it's somehow normal and good, because it's just not.
Okay, this is great point of view. And I agree 1,000% with you. This is another screenshot, and it says 1,300, the number of children at risk of being sold to be raped, tortured, and abused will fill an estimated 1,300 school buses. Your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, that just demonstrates the number of children that are falling victim to this. And people need to realize it's not just a small problem, and it's not just in some faraway third world country. It's right here in the United States, and they're stalking and hunting your children and my children. And a lot of times it's on their apps, it's on their phones. The children are unwitting to it. They don't, on the whole, most children do not understand how hostile some of the apps are, like Chinese owned apps like TikTok. The child playing on TikTok or similar apps, not realizing that the phone is surreptitiously, secretly filming the child. Video. The child doesn't even know. It doesn't even see that the light is on. It doesn't even know that the app may have a camera function. It's filming the child. It's taking still images of the child. It's geolocating the child.
Exactly.
Some of the geolocating is so accurate that it shows not only what town, but what neighborhood and which house, and you can even tell which room of the house it's beeping.
That is crazy.
The predators are stalking the children. The children don't even know. They're just playing a little video game. Oh, look, this looks cute. I'm going to put bunny ears on my head. Hee 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 hee. Meanwhile, some predatory creeper who's looking to body snatch the child and sell the child into sex slavery and torture and rape and murder is stalking him. So, folks, I don't care what country you're from. I don't care what religion you are, or what political party you subscribe to. I want you to protect your children because they are worthy. They're innocent. They are worthy. We have to protect them. This is sick, and it's big. So that's what some of the numbers are for, Oscar, to let people understand just how prevalent this is and how real and how big this problem is.
It's just enormously disgusting. And this is another screenshot that we were talking about the Super Bowl. And it has to do a lot with and also the Hollywood, the Hollywood hype. I have seen over here, Craig, people from Hollywood in shelters over here where unaccompanied children are all the time coming in the caravans with no moms, no dads. And they get over here and they form a fake family. And they form, a fake matrimony in all these nonprofit organizations, which they're working in the borders of Arizona, in the borders of Juarez in Texas. You got one that is still extremely working over there in Arizona that is called No More Debts, that it has been, consistently trafficking children. This is a day that everybody's hooked and everybody does not pay attention. And the Super Bowl is commonly known as the single largest human trafficking incident in the United States. Your take on that, Craig?
Yeah, and it's not just the Super Bowl. It's Formula One racing. It's Bike Week. It's any place where you have a large gathering of men, and women do this too. Women harm the children as well. In fact, the women are overwhelmingly the recruiters and the scouts who will go and find and lure the child into harm's way in the first place. But any place that you have a large gathering where you've got that many men, there's going to be people that are opportunists that cater to the desires of this crowd. So they're gonna be people that are narcotics salesmen. They're going to sell dope to them. They're going to bring alcohol They're going to bring hookers and blow, right?
Mm.
And a percentage of that is children. Some of the sickos, instead of wanting a gorgeous woman with all the scientific features that indicate she would be a strong biological mother and mate and give him strong offspring, children don't have any of those features. So it's really sick to be sexually attracted to a small child that's not developed and not ready for any of that. It's just abuse and rape. But certain of these Super Bowl goers and other event attendees will be pedophiles, and they will pay money, and child traffickers will bring children for them. So it's a big deal all week long surrounding the Super Bowl event in whatever town it's being held in. The hotels, the Airbnb homes that are being rented, people need to be on the lookout for children being brought in and out, especially in the dark of night, with that don't look happy. It look like they may not be with their real family, and just start taking photos of license plates and videoing and letting law enforcement know. And another thing that I, being a little bit on the inside and different aspects, and knowing that there are no-go zones for law enforcement that are agreed upon. Why? Because you've got big Saudi sheiks and princes and diplomats from other nations that have diplomatic immunity, and you've got other public figures that would be inconvenient for a political party or for some reason that you and I would never agree with. They have no-go zones, which might be a block or two of major hotels that a lot of the wealthy elite stay at for a Formula One event or for the Super Bowl, that law enforcement are briefed on, thou shalt not go there and thou shalt not make any arrests or investigations there during this week of the Super Bowl or the Formula One or Bike Week or so forth. So I'm against that. I understand diplomatic immunity and why it exists, but we have to safeguard our children, and we cannot let elite child predators do this unchecked. I'm against that. We have to find a way to change the status quo, which has become so abusive for the most precious and innocent, God's precious children.
Now, absolutely. Now, I want to put another statistic for people to watch, but, let's get a little bit more deep, Craig. Let's get into our area of expertise, the border issue, the dangers of the border, and how all these politicians and people from the elite are involved with all of this disgusting pedophilia and child trafficking that is occurring in the borders. The new modality is to traffic a migrant with, backpacks of cocaine, methamphetamine, drugs. And ultimately, with this comes families. They have already, the sex trade that has already been awaiting for them in the United States of America. And you got politicians in the borders, for example, Veronica Escobar in El Paso, a congresswoman, saying, you know what, stop the construction of the wall. We don't need it. You got people over here in California like Gavin Newsom not caring about what is happening at the border and to a border patrol agent. These politicians and all these people, they have never reached out to a border patrol agent in the mountain and say, what is going on? What the hell is going on over here? They don't even know. They take decisions in Congress like Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and the pampering of children. And oh my God, they're in cages and we're separating, children. But they don't talk about the fake families, the enormous drug trafficking that is occurring, the problems that are happening at the borders, that these people are putting in danger children, and not only children, women, that they're being trafficked because the coyote already told them, you know what, I will get you to the other side, but you got to sleep with me. You got to sleep with all these other men also. All of that kind of stuff. Nobody talks about it. And it is something that for you and me, it angers us because we see it every day on the border. All these politicians, all these political parties, it does not matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. They are crooked. And a lot of them, they're not caring about the situation that it really is happening at the border. Your take on that?
Yeah, well, everybody that I've talked to that works on or near the border, I ask them, hey, do you see these politicians that are all for open borders coming down and paying attention and learning what happens? And every single one of them say, well, of course not. They don't want to know. They don't have any interest on learning the truth. It's always the conservative politicians that want a strong border security and a logical, safe process by which people can come across, like in every other country on earth. And so they're disingenuous. Those that are saying, oh yeah, we don't need borders, they don't know what they're talking about, and they don't care to, because it would be very difficult for them to sell us out if they really understood the damage that was going on and what it's really like on the border. Man, I've learned so much. I probably don't know a fraction of what you do, but I've spent quite a bit of time on the border in different states and different towns and in the mountains and observing, for days at a time, and with thermal and night vision and long range optics and with trackers and everything else. It's fascinating to see how much business there is in exploiting and circumventing the security of the United States on our southern border. I mean, it's just a giant industry. And both sides of the political aisle in the United States have allowed it to become that way. And it's not good for the citizens of either country, but it's only good for the politicians. One side wants the voters. Quite frankly, they want people that are vote for an easy handout. And the other side of the aisle wants the contracts that are involved in the border security and international operations and all of that. So both sides really have sold out the American people and the people that are having to migrate here illegally, and all of those that are being exploited in the process. So it's unfortunate sign of the times, man. That's the nature of the days that we're living in.
What are your expectations right now with the new administration? Because this is going to completely change. That it's going to get worse. Yeah. This, Biden giving statements, I'm going to create a better pathway for migrants. Biden saying, I'm going to open up the border and 125,000 coming in. That a lot of child trafficking rings are going to start coming. Nonprofit organizations from the United States involved in all of this. What do you think is going to happen, and what can they do?
Well, there's going to be a lot of harm, Oscar. There already is, and it's just going to get so much worse. And I hope and pray that the victims of this start getting loud. I'm talking about people that have been brought across here. They tried to come into the United States, although illegally. Maybe they were raped. Their families were murdered. I would hope that they start speaking out, and that we bypass the mainstream news media gatekeepers and push the truth to the American people and the Mexican people and anyone else that's being harmed through this, to see what the seedy and destructive nature of what's really gone on with the illegal industry of exploiting this border, because it's just unsafe. I mean, there's so many people that are killed. So one of the things that you don't hear our news media talk about is the terrorism and the radical Islamist threat, and the people that are coming here from other nations that are not only diseased, but they have strands of the diseases that are very, very resistant to immunization and the medicines that we have. Talk about a pandemic, man. If you look at and this is going to come out in the next several years, history will tell the tale of this whole COVID virus and how small of a percentage of people were actually killed by just COVID. And a lot of people question whether or not COVID actually kills many people or even as a real thing. But whatever the real science on it, the politics that has been used to amplify the fear and the division and the shutdown of the economy and all that, it's been very, very upsetting. And through it all, they don't talk about the Islamic threat. Mm-mm. So with international terrorists, they would have come here. They can bring if they're coming in across our border unchecked, that means they can bring any weapons that they want, nuclear weapons, biological weapons. They can bring people that are diseased with anything under the sun, And why is it if we're so terrorized about COVID and we're supposed to wear 3 masks now and let our businesses go bankrupt, and they're not talking about the mass suicides and all of the devastation that's happening to our nation, which China loves. China's laughing about it.
Yes.
They won't talk about the Islamic threat or the disease threat. So it's just a matter of realizing they're full of it. They are the mainstream news media and our crooked politicians that are lying to us and telling us that it would just be a happy jamboree if there were no borders, and the only people that come across borders are just happy little families that want to pick fruit. And if you see any potential danger outside of that, you're some sort of horrible person. That's not being honest. And it's not facing the realities of all of the innocent migrants hanging in rape trees that have been murdered, and my friends are finding on their ranches dead in the desert and left behind by cutthroat coyotes and people that have been forced to backpack to mule, for the cartels, and a backpack major dope loads across, and they get them all amped up on amphetamines, and they don't make it. They can't stay hydrated. They've got too much ground to cover in a short period of time, too much load to carry. And if they don't do it, the cartel's going to kill their family in Mexico. And so they're trying to carry the dope load across, and it's rough territory, and it's hot in the summer, and a lot of them don't make it. And my friends find them dead all the time, as do law enforcement. So people are not being honest when they don't admit the realities, the harsh realities of what happened on our border.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just, and the most amazing thing is a lot of people don't want border security, Craig. It is just crazy when you hear these politicians saying, "Oh no, we don't need a wall. We don't, we're doing okay. What we need is technology. You need both. You need both of the things." Now, let's talk about Contraland. So, give it. The floor is yours. Contraland. Can you explain to the audience?
Yeah, Contraland. I'm trying to get out of this the sunspots on my face here, so it doesn't distract people.
That's okay. You need a little bit more tanning.
Contraland is a documentary. We spent 3 years filming it, and you'll see some of the border action in that. A little glimpse of what we've done on the border in Contraland. But it's a just about a 90-minute documentary. We spent 3 years filming it. And I did it specifically to alert the populace to the realities of child sex trafficking and the devastation, its origins, how it's done, some of who's involved, and the threats to our children, and to empower the people. And because I've worked in several covert fields, the intelligence community, counterterrorist community, everything's very, very covert and secretive. Even in federal law enforcement, obviously your operations, you want to keep secret from the bad guys so they don't see you coming. So learning that and looking at that background, I realized when I started learning about child trafficking, I realized, man, it's a domestic covert operation, and it is massive, and it is destructive as all get out, and it's destroying generations of the future of our nation and any other nation that's involved. And so I filmed it to rip the lid off of this cesspool of abuse that is child trafficking, and so I could recruit everybody, 320 million Americans, and recruit them to help hound their elected officials and call them and say, hey, we demand stronger enforcement against this abuse. We demand stronger protections for our children. We demand stronger education for our parents and the children. And we brought that. And I think we brought that in spades with Contraland. We brought experts in. We brought surviving victims. We brought rock stars from the national security realm, like Jack Farmer, who is the real life character that the author Tom Clancy wrote his character Jack Ryan about, and all the Tom Clancy books and films.
Wow.
And we brought Bob Hamer, another hero from the FBI, and he went undercover inside of a group of pedophiles, the North American Man-Boy Love Association.
Wow.
Yeah, NAMBLA. He went inside them for the FBI undercover.
A true American hero.
On 8 of their senior officials. And little Dr. Judith Reisman, she's about 5 foot tall, and she's, I think, 86 years old now. And she is a fireball and a champion for children, and like no other. She has exposed very, very factually Alfred Kinsey, who was the radical left celebrate him as the father of the sexual revolution, whereas in reality, it's a lot darker truth than that. Kinsey was a sadomasochistic pedophile who falsified his studies to make it look like children were orgasmic and sexual from birth.
Wow.
And he raped a lot of children. He paid a lot of other predators to rape children for his studies. And he marked down any manner of crying, passing out, screaming, convulsions during rape as orgasm.
That is unbelievable.
That sick monster wanted it to be, and that's how he wrote his final reports of his studies. So his studies are false, and we need to go back and reject Alfred Kinsey's false studies and drive it from our nation and drive it from our curriculum. It is fake, and it is wrong, and it has started an avalanche of abuse on children. And 3 generations later, we've got ourselves an epidemic of child abuse, thanks to Alfred, the sick rapist, the child rapist, Alfred Kinsey. So we reveal a lot of this in Contraland. So I'm proud of it. We put a lot of effort into it. There are a lot of challenges and things that we had to rebuild and recover and overcome with Contraland. So I believe God had his hand on that effort so that ultimately it came out okay and is a quality piece that is empowering a lot of people with that knowledge. And it's aired to 90 million households in U.S. and Canada so far on Daystar Network and back in July. And it's about to go up onto Amazon Prime now and air to a whole lot more than that. So
that's amazing.
I'm grateful to be able to assemble the people and film something like Contraland to bring that knowledge to the people so that we can all safeguard our children.
That is absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And the way that it's growing, Graig, congratulations for that. So, I wanted to ask you the typical questions. And then after, we finish these questions, every guest, I ask these kind of questions, to get to know them. But at the finish of the question, I want you to give the message to the American people of hope. A lot of people, they're losing hope, Graig. That is the most horrible thing. When you were in the United States of America, it is the country of hope. And now people are looking for hope. And it is just amazing. So I want to ask you this question for people to know your favorite food, Graig.
Man, we're in Tucson here, and I grew up in Texas, and there's a lot of good Mexican, and I return to it way too often, man. Several times a week at least, I'm eating Mexican, so that's what it's got to be.
That is great. Hey, you need a little tanning only, man.
I guess so.
I'm camouflaged right now, Graig. If I go with you to Arizona, I'll be camouflaged, man, with you on the side.
Oh yeah, and my wife knows how to get the good tortillas, right? So in Texas they don't have good tortillas. It's this white processed stuff like you would get from Taco Bell. It's not right, bro. It's bad.
You don't want that.
But my wife here from Tucson, she knows how to go find the local trucks and the friends that make them, and they're the good ones, man. They're the big, burnt spots on them, and they're kind of clear, and it's.
Sobaqueras. They're called sobaqueras in Sonora. Sobaqueras. They're big ones, sobaqueras. Favorite rock band, Graig?
Oh, man. I grew up, listened to a lot of AC/DC. I guess that would probably be my favorite. But I don't really listen to rock and roll anymore. I started listening to country a few years back, and then about 3 years ago, I started to listen to just a lot of Christian music, and I think
that's awesome.
My new favorite now, and it's not a new band. They're about to retire, but Third Day, the Christian band. I love them, and I love Zach Williams and all of his songs. So that's what I listen to now.
Favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby was motocross, man. I was racing it, and but I almost broke my neck. I had to quit. But I think the biggest smile and the most joy I think I've ever felt was in my motocross racing days. So
That's
that'd be
awesome.
it.
With one word, describe this last names. Hillary Clinton.
Devil.
I'll get you that. I'll get you with that one. Obama.
Imposter.
Wow. That's a great one. Democrats.
Misguided.
Absolutely. Republicans. Be honest.
Tragically weak. I mean,
Man.
on the political front, I'm speaking about the politicians. They're not fighters.
That is the perception right now, Craig, that they're giving to the world right now. Politics in the United States, the perception that they're giving to the world right now, the United States looks weak in the eyes of the world. Me as a foreigner, I look at the United States as a powerful country, and right now it looks weak because of everything that is going on.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, that's the observation here too, brother. It's tragic. It really is.
Last name, Trump.
Winner.
Marines.
Hard chargers.
You got that. You got that right. Navy SEAL.
Overcomers.
Awesome. Beautiful. Antifa.
Terrorists.
Absolutely. ICE.
Defenders.
Great. Black Lives Matter.
Frauds.
I can agree with you more. Describe with one word the United States of America right now.
Distressed.
Your motivation.
God.
Your inspiration.
Children.
Phenomenal. This most difficult question for you. Tacos or pizza?
It's tacos, bro. And it's straight up. I'm working on the belly to demonstrate.
It's hard to leave them alone, Craig. It's hard, man.
I need willpower, bro. Send me some willpower, man.
Great. Now, there's a lot of messages, as I have seen, I have said to all my guests, Craig, a lot of messages when I go to the border. There are messages of distress. And right now, with all this that is happening right now, a lot of people say, you know what, the United States is done. We're done. Our border security is done. Our sovereign nation is done. We're going to collapse the economy. China has us overwhelmed, and I'm a foreigner. I'm always saying no. The United States is the greatest country that exists in the world. You are an American. You stand tall in every place, and America always stands tall and always overcomes every problem. Your message to the American public through all these problems, that is not only child trafficking, it is all the problems that is occurring in the world, and they're occurring right now, and they're trying to the automatic destruction to the most capitalist country in the world, that is the United States of America. Your message of hope to all Americans.
My message of hope is that our nation was founded on the principles of Jesus Christ by men who wrote a constitution that's very protective of us, and it was meant to last for generations upon generations, long after they were gone, as a sort of restraining order against tyranny. And it's up to us to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And right now, we have domestic enemies shredding our Constitution and putting us under the boot of tyranny. We are still the majority. And just because the crooked politicians and their lapdog media are so loud and making us think that it's over and we're checkmated, that's not the truth. And we hold the power, And we just have to assert ourselves and use. We have to assert ourselves and use the power. We have to stand up, do it righteously. I mean, American citizens haven't even fired a shot yet, and I don't want to see any violence. And I think long before we get to that, we can still stand up and force our crooked elected officials out of office, our crooked judges, our crooked DAs who will not prosecute, out of off the bench, out of their seats, and drive them out and replace them with honorable people who will serve the citizens in good faith. And I would say, there is no better time to pray for your nation and for our people than right now, because nothing can fix this without God. And I think if we unite and realize we are to beware of the dividers, we must not turn on each other for all of the tiny reasons that they try to divide us. Realize that the division is an act of hostility, and the deceit is an act of hostility. We need to share the truth, stand united. We need to research what's going on, and we need to assert ourselves in unison against this corrupt cabal that is destroying our freedom and liberty. If we do that, we can save the day and once again have a free, prosperous United States that we will all be proud of again. And then once again, God can, in fact, bless the USA.
God bless you so much. There you have it, sir. Graig Sawyer from Veterans for Child Rescue. Graig, the most important thing, where can they find you? Facebook page, social media, website, everything, to help the foundation of Veterans for Child Rescue. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Well, the main website is vets4childrescue.org. Use the number 4, vets4childrescue.org. Our documentary can be found at contralandmovie.com. That's contralandmovie.com. And then if you type in my name, Craig Sawman Sawyer, you'll find, me on Instagram and Facebook and a bunch of others. The communist censors, the Sharia level censors, from big tech have already deleted my LinkedIn account and now my 130,000 follower Twitter account just for posting CDC stats.
Wow.
So they do not want the truth out, even if it's posted straight from the CDC's website. And I really think that's just an excuse because they don't want me exposing child trafficking. But, I say everybody migrate to the newer apps that are not hostile, and let's use them. Let's leave these legacy apps behind that are owned by big tech in Silicon Valley, that's backed by China and very hostile to we the people. Let's leave them in the dust, man, and go to better, newer apps that where we can once again enjoy free speech without this tyrannical abuse and deleting our accounts and fact checkers and all this nonsense we're having to put up with like we're in Soviet Russia or something.
Well, God bless you. It was a pleasure to talking to you, brother. We're going to continue to talk. Pretty buff there, man. You're pretty buff there, man. I can't compare myself. I'm a small guy, man, to you, man. This is just you see the screen right there, the comparison, Craig. Come on, man.
Well, let me address that real quick. I don't want to drag this out, but I do want to talk about moral courage. And I respect you, Oscar, for the same reasons that I respect little tiny Dr. Judith Reisman for the huge, giant, larger-than-life moral courage, which is far more important than having big guns or having a big muscular body and chassis. That's not what's going to save the day in this time of turmoil and deceit and spiritual attack and conflict between good and evil. What's going to save the day is your brand of moral courage, Oscar. And quite frankly, films like Contraland and Dr. Judith Reisman and people like Bob Hamer, people who will stand up and call things what they are. They will call, if something is evil and abusive, they won't say, well, it's just another sexual preference without any regard to the the child victim, no, we'll call it wrong. We'll call it abusive. We'll call it evil. And we'll demand that there's things done about it. And we will take action to fix it. And so God bless you, Oscar, and those like you for getting loud in a time when they want us quiet and when they want to threaten us, when it's dangerous to do so. Even more so now, it's important that we stand up and speak the truth. Moral courage is where it's at.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Craig. So there you have it. Craig Sawyer from Veterans for Child Rescue. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much. We will do more shows like this, Craig, probably in the future. Follow him at all his platforms. Thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you, brother. It was a good time. I hope.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. It was Craig Sawyer. I think I cut him up, but I think that it was he was saying goodbye. I didn't mean to be rude, but thank you so much. There you have it, people. This is the situation when it comes to these kind of individuals, that they are courageous and they're in the front line and they really want to expose the situation right now. And one of the things that is really important for everybody to understand right here, it is that it does not matter if you're a United States citizen, if you're a Mexican citizen, if you're from whatever place. What it matters is the unity to create a better voice and to ultimately to fight this situation that is happening right now. That is the most important thing. I remember clearly when I started getting interested in all these caravans and I saw a 5-year-old kid being dragged by non-existent parents into a tent that it was not their child. After that, my persistence to expose all these caravanners and to expose these movements from the radical left, that is the enormous human smuggling, fake families, fake matrimonies, in human trafficking, and enormous child trafficking, that it needs to stop, not only in our borders, but ultimately around the world. I want to thank Greg Sawyer. You saw them right here. Great guest for everybody. Follow him wherever it goes. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. You can follow my partner, Real Anthony Owedo. You can follow him at Orbis.net, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and his channel and Telegram. Also, you can follow our channel of Border Network News and Telegram as Border Network News. Also, you can follow the page of Facebook as Border Network News, and you can follow me at YouTube as Oscar L. Blue. Subscribe to my channel. Ultimately, you can go to my public figure page at Facebook and also give it a like and share. And also, you can go to my channel and Telegram as Oscar L. Blue. As I always say in my programs in Spanish, is an honor and it is a pride to be born in this beautiful country as México. Es un honor y es un orgullo ser mexicano y defender las buenas reglas de poder defender en contra del tráfico de niños. It is an honor and it is a pride to be Mexican and to be born in this beautiful country, but also to stop the enormous child trafficking. God bless you all. Stay safe. And like we always say, people, peace and love, because always your country's first. God bless.